Hi, I'm Cari Morey, and I teach 4th grade at Weller Elementary, and today I'm going to show you how I do writing conferences with my students. With my first student, he is more advanced, so I just went through and worked with him where he is. He already has the basics that he needs in a story, so just pushing him more. All right, Braden, would you go ahead and read to me what you have so far on your planning page?
Which one is better, fiction or nonfiction? I think fiction is better because you can do anything you want with it. You can make it abstract, and you can make it magical. For example, you can put gas in the 17th century. You can put an eyeball off the person, and you can make an animal walk.
Do you have examples of where these came from in different books? Is there a book that you're thinking of that some of these have come through? Or are you just thinking that's something that could happen in a book in general? Just something that you thought of that you could add. Okay, so that's one really good one. Another one, if you could think of another way to do that, would to be give an actual example that's from a fiction book. It's going to make you sound more legit in your examples. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So with this, you said you can do anything you want with it. So you gave this really example. Can you think of another example that you can give that would actually come from a book?
I'll have to check from my head.
Okay, what about this one? The one you said you can make it abstract.
Yeah, I got that one from, I read a book once and it had a cat with the eyeball off of it.
The cat in the eyeball, but you can't remember what the book's called?
Yeah.
So in here, I would put that in here. I read a book once that had the cat. It just makes you even sound more legit with that. Does that make sense? You're giving those really good supports to it that's gonna help. What I do really like is that you gave a really good example, and I love the vocabulary that you used. These words, magical and abstract, they just really paint a better picture for the head. So you did a really good job. All I would do was try to think of examples that actually come from books to support it. Don't take these ones away, just do that as an add to. Does that make sense? Okay, you are good. I have the continuum laying out next to it with my conferences from previous times. And I know that he is more of a transitional writer because most of the things that he has on the continuum is highlighted. So I kind of look down to where things are not highlighted and try to guide the discussion that we have together based on those things that he is missing. Also based on the things that I've taken notes of and just things I've noticed that he has done previously in his writing. With my other student, I've really just looked at, they really don't know how to organize their stories really well, and they also don't know how to add their own voice into their stories. So while they were going in, I just really watched for either of those two things to have an avenue where I could really guide them to increase their knowledge of this writing process. All right, Anthony, will you go ahead and read for me what you have so far?
What is better, fiction or non-fiction? It's fiction because it's telling us it's not real. Because we look comic books, it's not real.
Keep going.
I love book that is Christmas. It's the Big Hungry Bear. It's like taking you to a world that is not real. It's like you were reading and making your own world.
Okay, so can you think of this one? I saw that you did it right here. You said the Christmas with the Big Hungry Bear. That's your example of this, right? So you said, I love the book that is. Why do you love this book?
Because Christmas is my favorite holiday.
Let's write that in there. Write that down below because Christmas is your favorite holiday. That's going to help you with expanding that fact and adding those details to it. There you go. This is something I really like is what you already did by going through and you really gave good examples. The only thing I can see that you need to add for these two was to give another book example. So what kind of book will take you places in the world? What's a good example of a book that does that?
Make the grade.
Okay, then write that down. Those are good mystery books, aren't they? And what about this one? It's like you're reading and making your own world. Where have you seen that in a book before?
Minecraft.
There you go. So not only that, Minecraft's kind of like a fiction game, isn't it? Yeah. So you have another way of connecting it. Awesome. So I really like how you had all those different facts. What I want you to do when you go back, when you write this, don't just write, it's like taking me to a world that's not real, Nate the Great. You have to expand these to make them into full sentences, just like we did in our research paper, okay? So don't just go through and just write them straight out. You need to add to that to make that sentence more. How would you expand this sentence, Nate the Great?
Whenever Nate the Great's like taking me to a not real world.
Okay, and what not real world does he take you to?
Like you make your own world and do mysteries.
Oh, like a mystery world of it? Okay, so make sure you put all that. Do you have to put all that on this planning page? No, but where do you need to make sure it gets?
The final copy.
Not your final copy, but which one's before that one?
Rough draft.
In your rough draft. That's something to make sure you get in there. Does that help? Okay, you are good. I just had a few ideas in my head of what I could do, but you kind of have to really watch of what they're going to come to the table and where you can just nicely add those pieces. You really want it to just be fluid. So I watched with the student, and really what they needed was just to expand on their own voice this time, because they were still just doing their planning page. Maybe if they would have been another stage of their writing, I could have done something differently. So you just kind of be open for where they are, and keeping those notes of where they've been and where they're going to be is going to help. This is what works best for me and for where my students are right now, and I hope that you're able to take some of this away to use in your own classroom or in your building, and just know that you have to find what works for you and your students so that you can really meet the needs that they have.